Hey, what's up guys? Khraze here, and today we have a brand new Anthem gameplay trailer coming our way from NVIDIA, including some never seen before environments, enemies, as well as a brand new Javelin skin. On top of that, we also have a bunch more new info to talk about regarding this month's demo, as well as other new gameplay details that have been brought up to light in the past couple of days. So let's not waste any more time. Also, a thumbs up would be super appreciated, and let's get to it. First things first, let's go over the brand new 1.5 minute long trailer showcased by NVIDIA at this year's Consumer Electronics Show. The video starts with a couple of beautiful shots of the jungle environment, as well as showcasing the javelin, swimming, and the flight mechanics. One thing that I am glad to say about this is that I am not seeing any downgrades in terms of graphics quality and neither performance, and if there are any, they don't appear to be of any significance, so the game looks absolutely gorgeous. I hope it stays the same up until launch day. By the way, at roughly 40 seconds into the video, there is an interceptor taking on what appears to be an Ur-6, which is one of the apex predators in the world of Anthem, though it does appear that this one has a slight redesign in the eye area compared to what we've seen in the first gameplay trailer 1 year ago. It seems like it's much more shiny, but it could very well be just a different specimen or model and whatnot. Nonetheless, the next scene after this is where things start getting interesting. First of all, take a close look at the enemy this ranger is fighting in the scene. It's something that I don't recall being shown in any of the footage presented up until now. It seems like it's a new enemy type. It's some kind of robot with spider legs capable of shooting multiple small rockets at the ranger, probably among other attacks. So it looks pretty freaking cool, kind of industrial. It doesn't move that fast at all. It looks like the type of enemy that could definitely tank a little bit of damage, so it might take a little bit to kill it. But second of all, pay close attention to the environment they are in, which looks like an abandoned city or a settlement in a desert area. Now, we know for some time now that the world of Anthem won't be exclusively jungle, but rather it will have and will feature additional biomes, including this desert one we just saw, and it looks freaking fantastic. The entire area seems to have been going through some really heavy destruction, it seems, presumably by these types of robots or whatever brought them here, and you can even see rubble and debris all over the place. There's torn flags and pieces of cloth, and there's even some strange electrical discharge at the right side of the screen about 40 seconds into the video. Then we also have a couple of shots of some huge power generators that I've seen in other trailers before. Not really sure what they are, but it appears to produce electricity, presumably from the wind currents it catches with these huge fans. I mean, that's how it works. There's also some ruins in the background, either that or some smaller generator, which makes me believe that this is a place of interest from being shown so much, either from a story point of view, or at the very least there are some types of activities involving this area. Moving on, we also have more shots of the javelins flying, and I will say that the controls look absolutely gorgeous. There's this interceptor which appears to be using a custom skin, by the way. We're most probably going to see it later into the video. I don't think we've seen this before, or at the very least I didn't see it. There's also another one with the ranger, and both these scenes and the following ones are showing more of that jungle environment, the abandoned ruins, underground temples, and I'm willing to bet that a lot of these are either stronghold locations or at the very least will be part of the main story at various points. But moving on, we can see yet another new enemy type, and this looks like a combination of some indigenous creature with some sort of javelin parts to it, or at the very least some robotic parts to it. He is able to generate a force field that can block this ranger's bullets, and we are even able to see those black triangle absorb effects that look on point. I mean, they look pretty freaking cool. I'm not entirely certain what type of attacks this enemy is doing, as the ranger does manage to jump over most of them at some point, but since his attacks seem to look white, I'm inclined to say that these are some kind of frost attacks. Also, while the scene does transition before this mob gets killed, we can see it briefly taking damage from the ranger's storm hammer, point at which his shield either expired or the melee attack itself managed to completely annihilate it. Towards the end of this is when we get to see the new Interceptor skin, and I'm going to say this, it looks quite interesting. We know for some time now that there's going to be additional skins people can get. Also, the game will most probably feature a skin shop at launch or soon after, and I'm wondering if this particular skin is going to be a reward for those who attended this event in 2019. It might very well be, but I think it will be acquirable in-game later on, or at the very least, it can be buyable from the skin shop. But with all of that out of the way, let's take a look at some of the new info, starting with this amazing piece of news that I am sure all of the console players will be enjoying. If you pre-ordered the game on your PS4, and I believe this applies to Xbox as well, you will be able to take part in the VIP demo on the 25th this month without having to buy EA access, according to Jonathan Warner, BioWare's game director, and I'm going to post a link over to Twitter where you can see this. Also, the preloads for the demos will start a few days before that, according to Mike Gamble's Twitter. One thing to note about consoles is that for the time being, the FPS cap on all the consoles will be 30 FPS, so unfortunately it's not going to be uncapped as it was originally said, but instead it's going to be 30 across the board. The PC will continue to have 60 FPS support and beyond, so don't worry about that. It might change at some point, but for the time being it's going to stay the same. We also finally get a confirmation about the level cap, and it seems that at launch it will be level 30, that is the maximum cap, but this will eventually be raised as the game expands. We already had clues about this, most probably being the case, as all of the live streams so far showed javelins at level 30, but the older trailers, if you want to check them out, definitely showcased players over that cap, so it's definitely going to come at some point. In terms of unlocking javelins, there's some new information here, and these can be unlocked in any order, starting at level 2, then at level 8, 16, and finally 24, according to BioWare's lead producer Ben Irving, but this might still be subject to change up until launch, so like take it with a grain of salt. I think BioWare is still experimenting a little bit, but since we're still on the subject, what's the first javelins you guys are planning to unlock at level 2? I'm tempted to go with Storm, but the Colossus also looks freaking good, especially since tanks are so useful in dungeon environments. Go ahead and cast your opinions down below. Write in the comment section what's your first javelin and what's the one you're going to main, because I'm really curious. I'm really tempted by the Storm, man, I'm not gonna lie. But in the meantime, we've talked about difficulty settings in one of the previous videos that I have posted like a few days ago, and it seems that we have some further clarification on how this works, and this also means that I don't have to break the NDA to bring you all of this information, which is fine by me. But to give you the details, the higher the difficulty, the higher the creature's health and damage dealt will be, but elite or higher versions of enemies will also have changes in their behavior, like for example dodging attacks more frequently, having more accuracy on its attacks, and so on. As far as the party size goes, this will also influence the scaling of the enemy, specifically the numbers of them, and at 2 players out of 4, which is the maximum, is when the enemy spawn numbers will be increased. As for the health itself, this is going to be increased with each additional party members, so 1, 2, 3, and 4 will all see increase in that health, which is pretty cool. This kinda incentivizes you have at least a party of 3. The advice for players who want to tackle hard difficulties is to get good, according to this Twitter post. Personally, I don't want developers to hold the players' hands, so I'm definitely looking forward to some difficult content. The weapon from the Legion of Dawn pre-order is confirmed to be a powerful early on legendary acquirable somewhere around level 5, according to this Twitter post, but you won't be able to use it indefinitely, of course, as it will only get you through the early game and then pretty much get outranked by other loot you'll be able to get at higher levels. Since we're still on the subject of legendary loot, yes, you will be able to acquire full legendary gear for all of your slots, but that is obviously going to take a lot of time to pull off, so you're going to feel very accomplished when doing doing this. In terms of performance and optimization, Ben Irving once again confirms over on Twitter that there has been made quite a lot of improvements since the closed alpha last month, and the controls have also been updated, and I quote, most notably on the PC version, and that is something that I like a lot. I know a lot of people have complained about this. Oh, and since we're talking about closed alpha, it seems that the NDA is going to be indefinite, as the info on it might very well be outdated by the time the game comes out, and BioWare doesn't want to have outdated information being out there, so yeah, it kind of makes sense. Finally, there's also some talks about a future live stream showcasing the crafting system, for which I'm waiting for a while now. We don't have too much info at hand, unfortunately, but we also have this info coming our way from Twitter again, and somebody over there asked if, for example, if you go for an assault rifle skin, would the blueprint be for all of the assault rifles in the game, or will it be specific to a certain type? To which Ben Irving answered that it will be for a certain type, so it means that the blueprints will pretty much be specialized. But these were just some of the details that I have found important. Of course, for the rest of them, you can follow BioWare over on Twitter, or keep an eye out on this channel, as I will cover all of the info you can expect about Anthem. But with all of this being said and done, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, then make sure to leave a like. Also subscribe to the channel, as that would be super appreciated. And I am going to have to say goodbye for now, so peace.